Hey there, and welcome to the People Who Help People podcast. This is the spot for HR and people ops pros who are all about building better businesses by putting people first. We chat with founders and experts who've been there, done that, and are generous enough to share what actually works. Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hello again. Today I'm happy to be speaking with Heather Haas, CEO and owner at ADVISA, about strengthening culture in the AI storm. Heather leads a team of leadership and culture experts focused on helping organizations build intentional, magnetic workplaces through leader effectiveness and data-driven talent strategies. From her early career as a teacher and school principal to coaching and training thousands of leaders, Heather has dedicated her life to helping people thrive at work by equipping leaders with the clarity, empathy, and emotional intelligence needed to strengthen culture, especially in times of rapid change and technological disruption. Welcome to the podcast, Heather.
Thank you so much.
So, Heather, I teased your background a little bit there, but tell me a little bit more. How does one make the journey from teacher and principal to owner and CEO of a successful firm like yours?
It's a common question that I get. So part of what I did in the education realm, I was a tech coordinator at a middle school. So I was very connected to companies that were helping school corporations implement technology. And there was a woman that I was connected to through that who had landed a job in Indianapolis helping the Indiana Humanities Council get a tech portal for Indiana teachers off the ground. And she reached out to me and she said, I think you would be great to help us get this off the ground. Do you want to take a year's leave of absence and join us? And, you know, when you're a teacher and you get that kind of opportunity, it's like a get out of jail free card in Monopoly. And I said, absolutely. I joined that nonprofit and they were a client of ADVISA. So I was exposed to the assessments, the consulting, and the training that we do. And I raised my hand and I said, I know I can teach. I think I can sell based on what I've just learned about myself through the predictive index behavioral assessment. So if you're ever looking for those people, sign me up. So that was my bridge over from nonprofit and education directly into ADVISA. I joined the company 23 years ago as a trainer.
Okay. And then somewhere along the line, you got into leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And somewhere along the line, you became the owner. How
Yes.
did that happen?
So one of the most wonderful things about being a trainer, someone who's in the room with leaders who are trying to grow and develop, is that you hear and you learn about all of their issues and challenges. And as I spent a great deal of time working with leaders, training them how to implement the predictive index to improve hiring and teamwork and coaching, etc., I started also hearing about the bigger picture, the other business challenges, organizational opportunities that were in front of them. And through being in the training room, I started to tug on the owner's sleeve and say, you know, if we created this product or that program, I think we could sell it. And that led to a short period of what I would call intrapreneurship, not entrepreneurship, but intrapreneurship, where I was helping to drive the creation of new products, new services within the organization. And that started to really ignite growth. And that growth led to a couple promotions, you know, where I was leading a team of consultants. And eventually that led to the owner and founder, Bob Wilson, who approached me and said, I think you have a vision for where this company could go. And I'd love to work out a transition plan if you're interested in owning and running the company. So Bob and I worked out a really wonderful and amicable plan over many years. It took a minute. It wasn't a quick thing, but that's what led me from joining the organization as a trainer to moving up to eventually lead the organization as president, then CEO, and eventually owner.
What do you know now that you wish you knew, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago?
I mean, what a great question. Gosh, I could go a million different ways. I think as it relates to my journey at ADVISA, I wish I would have known that even when you do everything right, even when you're trying to build trust and shared purpose, cast a shared vision, sometimes there are really high performers on the team that are just not aligned. And I wasted a lot of time trying to get those people on the same page. I wish I would have known that some of those people were never going to be on the page, and that's okay, actually, to release them, to release the time and energy and attention that I was spending trying to get them aligned was far more valuable. Where I could put that time, attention, and energy into other areas was far more valuable than trying to bring them along. Because to release something, to release someone, not literally, but like let them go, let them make the choice. They've got other things. That's good for them. It's good for me. It's good for the business. And I think when I was young, I tried too hard to save everyone, to bring everyone along. And what I've learned is it's okay. Not everyone needs to come along. You only need the right people to come along.
Yeah. Your team, the team that's going to help further your vision and deliver against your vision. Okay. Backing up just a little bit, you seem to have a knack for developing products or things to sell. And I've noticed that more mature organizations have done better at that. So what tips do you have for anyone who's earlier in their journey on knowing when to productize something or when to turn something into a repeatable delivery or repeatable program, etc.?
I think it's 3 words: voice of customer. The closer you are to what customers need and want, the faster and more effectively you're going to be able to bring something to market. So that's been the genesis of all of our new product development. Clients who have already, used us, worked with us, know us, love us for one thing, they trust us. And so they ask about another thing. And then we, evaluate, can we do the other thing? What's it going to take? And that's how new products start to come into the fold. But, very candidly, we've been fast and relatively effective bringing market relevant products to customers and prospects. It's also been a challenge for us because it's one thing to birth something that's super relevant to what the market needs right now. It's another thing to fully develop, scale, and then enable salespeople to sell it effectively and profitably over time. So to be honest, Craig, I think we've had some success with new product development. We've also really struggled and are still trying to figure out, as a small organization, how do you do that? How do you vet, what you could do with what you should do? That's the key question. We could do a lot of things. We have a really talented team. That doesn't mean we should do all of them and bring it to market as a formal product.
So how do you make those choices? How do you separate the could do and the should do? Certainly you've got a vision and you're likely going to be delivering things that further that vision. But do you have a subcommittee that separates the could do's, should do's? Is it part of your annual planning process? And how do you walk away from things? And how do you, after you've had a run, how do you know when something's time is up? Well, that was a great product for 5 years ago, but it's time to retire that one. I know I put a lot into that question.
Well, your questions are so timely. We're just growing up as an organization in terms of our financial fitness, our ability to understand the profitability of what we do by product. We've had the luxury of growing over the years because we have great client relationships. They refer us to other people who need what we do. You grow, and you're very entrepreneurial in the way that you go after it. Then once you start to really tune in your financial systems and make sure that they are keeping pace with the kind of information that you need to run the company, that gives you a whole different level of okay, we've been doing this really well, but it's not profitable. we haven't been doing much of this, but it is profitable. So part of the answer to your question, Craig, is what's profitable, what's not. And in order to be able to use that data to drive strategic decision making and vision setting, you have to have accurate financials. So we've worked really hard recently to get to that point. Beyond that, though, it's a function of how do you meet the moment? You know, what's going on in the world? What does the market need? And what can your team deliver? And the figuring that out, what could we do? What should we do? Is really a blend of capacity. What does our team have capacity to do? And also, and this is the luxury of being a small business, what do we want to do? What do we have fun doing? And what do we believe is super aligned with our vision? At ADVISA, our vision is to revolutionize the way leaders lead and cultures thrive. So we're really trying to tap into how do we help leaders be on the cutting edge of how AI is transforming the workplace? What do leaders need to say and do in the face of that? And what is uniquely human in the face of all the AI automation, all the other things? So I wish I had a really clear answer. It's a lot of judgment, a lot of collaboration, conversation as a leadership team, also collaboration with our salespeople who are on the front lines of knowing and hearing what our clients and prospects care about.
Like several things that you said in that answer. One is, can we sell it? Well, you started with, what's the customer asking for, right? What's the voice of the customer? 2, can we sell this? 3, can we support it? Can we deliver
it? Yep.
Is it profitable? So I'm going to pivot as you pivoted to meeting the moment. So, oh boy, there's a moment, and we named this strengthening culture in the AI storm. So tell me a little bit more about how you're approaching this for the sake of your clients, and how you're thinking about it, and how you're helping them progress well through the storm.
Well, first I want to hook into briefly the way you've titled the episode, you know, the AI storm. I want to just anchor listeners to, what does it feel like to be in a storm? A storm is unexpected. A storm is potentially cold. It's wet. It's disruptive. So helping leaders be effective in the midst of any kind of storm, whether it's AI or otherwise, it's really about preparation. Just like if we're going to, weather any kind of literal storm, a snowstorm, a rainstorm, a tornado, there's a little bit of preparation that's involved. And I think that's the same thing for this AI era that we're in. There are things to read. There are things to know. We can all be experimenting and using AI. We can be attending trainings. We can be listening to this podcast to prepare ourselves for what is out there, what is coming. So preparation, I think, number one, is key. I think the other thing that's important in the midst of a disruptive storm is that you have support and people. And, one of the things that we've tried to do is create learning experiences where leaders can come together, both leaders who don't know each other, but also leaders who are from the same organization. There is so much power in collaboration and shared reality. You can trade perspectives, you can build trust and share your fears, share your hopes, so that shared experience, I think, is a really important part of weathering a storm. The other really important thing, I think, is the perspective, the mindset shift that is, storms don't last forever. When the dark clouds move away, there's blue sky. So we're also really leaning into helping our clients imagine, what is the blue sky opportunity for you? If your leaders can learn how to lead in the age of AI, leveraging it as a thinking partner, not as a substitute for judgment and empathy, etc., but really learn how to use it to be more effective. What is the blue sky opportunity? And I don't think enough people are talking about that. There's so much fear. There's so much, I'm behind, or I have so much to learn, that we're sort of shutting off the part of our brain that says, what if? How might we? And at ADVISA, we're really trying to bring cohorts, groups of leaders together, give them the time and the space to engage their creativity and their best thinking to imagine a new future in this age that we're in.
I really like your answer. Cynical me thinks about the storm and will I have a house after the storm blows through?
Yep.
But you touched on something really important. It sounds like you're drawing on years of history of strengthening leaders and strengthening their ability to form a stronger culture that people want to work in, but meeting them where they're at, which is, hey, we're all in this storm, and how do you help your team weather it? And let's talk about that as a cohort. That sounds really powerful. I noticed a couple things on LinkedIn. You talked about, I think you're doing a live webinar in a few days from now.
We are.
And then somebody also mentioned CultureCon, an AI summit that's coming up in April. Can you tell me about those two things and how folks might participate?
Yeah, the webinar that we have coming up, it's going to be a conversation around the headline that to lead is human. So we're going to be digging into exactly what you're asking about. What are the uniquely human things that cannot be replaced by AI that all leaders need to be really doubling down on, leaning into, and growing in their capability? So that webinar is just going to be a live conversation. You can find out more about it on our website. I'm blanking on the exact date of it, but it's going to be a chance for audience to ask questions and for us to share our perspective on what should leaders today be doing to feel prepared and effective in the face of AI, which is usurping a lot of the tactical transactional work within all of our organizations. Then I think the other thing that you mentioned, we have a Leading with AI workshop that we're rolling out at the end of March. And we're doing a pilot in early March, but the actual workshop we're rolling out end of March. And that's a chance for any leader who is sitting out there thinking, I'm not sure what I should be doing. I feel like I'm behind, or maybe I feel like I'm ahead, but I'm not sure how that syncs up with my organization. This workshop is a great opportunity to come together with other forward-thinking leaders in different industries to really learn what is AI, what does it mean for leadership, and what are the basic skills that I could be learning. And the great thing about how we've designed this is we've created a private leadership and culture studio. So anyone that goes through any of our learning experiences this year is going to get access to this studio where they can practice the skills that they're learning. And it's in a private space, because what we know is that right now, leaders across all organizations, they're all doing their own thing. Some of them have paid $20 a month for a private chat GPT. Others of them don't even know that you can do that. They're all out there experimenting, putting data out into the world, getting advice. What we're trying to do is say, let's rein that in so that it's in a private instance. It's not out there on the public model. And we're giving leaders some really clear guidance and skills to build their confidence and awareness about what should you be doing now, what should you not be doing. And that will equip those leaders to know, how do I have a conversation within my organization about more of an organizational strategy or impact?
That sounds fascinating. So the workshop, is that virtual or do you have to, will it be, everyone be present somewhere?
Yeah, the pilot is going to be in person. So we're based here in Carmel, Indiana, just north of Indianapolis. So we're piloting it in a couple of weeks, and that's in person. Eventually, we hope to have different virtual as well as in-person opportunities to learn. So anyone who's interested in that, they should follow me, check in at our website, advisa.com, to really keep an eye on how we're evolving and growing in this area.
Sounds good. I hope that pilot goes well.
Thank you.
Will be following that. You know, as I was preparing for this, I spoke with Jeff. I believe he's your marketing director.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jeff gave me a quote that I thought was pretty interesting. He said, at ADVISA, we see AI as a powerful amplifier where leadership behavior, trust, and clarity are in place. Can you talk about that a little bit? About, in his words, how culture can become the operating system for AI. What does that mean, or how should I, as a leader, think about?
It's a great question. As I was alluding to earlier, leaders right now, good leaders, average leaders, and bad leaders, they're all out there using AI right now, today, without any guardrails, figuring it out. You know, what we're trying to really clarify for people is that a good leader who uses AI to do faster analysis, tune up communications, help with strategic thinking, etc. A good leader is going to amplify their effectiveness with AI. An average leader is going to be amplifying their mediocrity, and a bad leader in your organization using AI is going to be amplifying their ineffectiveness. And what I hope people who are listening to this take away is, yikes. That's a little bit scary, where individual eagerness and zeal for using AI is out ahead of organizational readiness and leadership development. There's a lot of risk in that delta. And so that's really what I think what Jeff was, sharing with you is what we're trying to do is get leaders ready, help leaders prepare, give them the skills to be effective, connecting with people, developing teams, giving feedback, etc. They need those core basic skills so that when they put the Iron Man suit of AI on, it's amplifying the best of them and the best of their organization, not amplifying, really, not developed leadership skills, and potentially not also incorporating what the organization has declared or even hopes that the culture would evolve to become. So we try to get that all really dialed in, intentional, so it's safe. Leaders know what to say and do to activate the culture. And that culture is so clear that we can tune up AI to really create behavior at scale.
I think you're making me think about things differently, because I'm used to AI amplifying, in that I believe that if you're a good financial analyst, it will make you a better financial analyst. If you're But it helps to have that base understanding, or those years of experience, so you understand the outputs, or you even know what questions to ask. But I hadn't thought about it from a leadership context. So I like how, obviously, because that's what your advisor has done for so many years and done well, that's the lens through which you're considering the opportunities that are presented during this storm.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess maybe to extend the storm metaphor, we believe like leadership has the opportunity to like pop up the umbrella in the midst of the storm and sort of filter or shelter even what are people experiencing, how wet are they getting, how uncomfortable is this, how do we hold that umbrella for the team as we move through the work. That's really what leadership development should be in the age of AI. It should be, for a leader, I have an umbrella, I know when to pop it up, and I know where to take it. Right now, in our experience, we've got 40 years as a company. I've got 23 years as an individual in this space. Leaders are absolutely parched for guidance on what should they be doing, what should they not be doing, and how do I lead my team in the midst of this. So that's where, like I said, individual leaders' zeal and eagerness to learn and experiment and use is at an all-time high. There are a few laggards who say, I'm afraid, I'm not touching it. But the problem is that organizational readiness and governance and leadership development, team development is lagging way behind. So ADVISA is trying to step into that space. How do we start with leaders, give them some tools, give them some mindsets and skills give them the ability to help lead the conversation within their organization to get where they're trying to go.
I think that's a good place to close this podcast. It sounds like you've absolutely heard the voice of your customer, that I have an umbrella here, but I don't know how best to use it, how best to deploy it, how best to carry it, how best to help my team through the storm. And you're working to close that gap. And I think that's a valuable service. And I'm wishing you well in your pilot and in the upcoming workshops.
Thank you.
Follow and the webinar. So Heather, I've enjoyed our conversation today. If others who are listening to this want to know more about that webinar or that upcoming workshop or anything else that you're working on, what are the best ways that they can get in touch with you or find out more?
Yeah, Craig, I've enjoyed this conversation too. You can find me on LinkedIn at Heather Haas, Haas. I'd love to connect with you. If you have questions or you're in any way intrigued by what I've shared, please reach out to me. I would love to connect. And then the company website, where you'll have access to our training and events page, where all of those training opportunities that I've talked about, as well as just other information and thought leadership can be accessed, is advisa.com. ADV as in Victor, ISA.com. So we're super passionate about meeting leaders where they are and helping them get where they're trying to go. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
And thank you, Heather. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today. And I will include all that information in the notes for the podcast. All right. Thanks again.